Morning everybody and welcome to the Village Guy Morning Show. My name is Miles, and if you're joining for the first time, we chat to people of Paarl and Wellington doing amazing things, following their dreams, and also just topical conversation. Good morning, Judith.
Good morning, Miles, and good morning, TVG family. It's lovely to have you once again in the lounge. I'm Judith, your co-host. Miles, what's happening this morning? Tell us.
Yeah, very exciting conversation this morning. We have Leigh Reabow in the studio. She's a social worker, and we're going to chat a bit about adoptions in South Africa and the process, the costs, and
I'm looking forward to
just
that.
a bit adoption adoption conversation. And then sport, we have Neal Bredenkamp. He doesn't need an introduction in the Paarl community. Athletics masterclass. We're going to chat a bit about his involvement in the community currently, and he's got a few interesting stories to tell us. Your side?
Fantastic. So for lifestyle, I have the young, hip and happening and beautiful Miss Madge Du Preez, and she's from the Sunflower Fund Project, author, poet, writer, and as I said, NPC founder. So we're looking forward to chatting with her and finding out about her journey.
Yeah, nice local conversation. So guys, as they always say, like and subscribe when you're watching. There's a bell at the bottom that people must ring and ting dong on, click with your mouse. So join in on the conversation.
Yeah, we encourage you to engage with us on social media, and please,
So Facebook, YouTube, engage with
All
us.
of that,
We want to have the
and
conversation.
soon coming TikTok. Looking
Oh
forward
no,
to that.
I'm not looking forward to that.
So guys, as we always say, we want you to grab your coffee, cappuccino. I love my chai. Grab it, come and sit with us in the lounge, and let's listen to inspiring stories within our own community. So lots is coming, so stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Leigh Reabow in the studio today. We're going to chat a bit about adoptions. I bumped into her here at the office space at Workshop 17, and it was an interesting conversation, and I thought a lot of people probably find a lot of value in the conversation. So just by way of introduction, Leigh is a social worker, been doing it for 16 years. She graduated 2006 and she went into private practice. She's just assisting families with adoptions. Good morning, Leigh.
Good morning, Miles. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Good, good.
All
Very
right.
excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So also, Leigh's also a certified family coach, and I think that's my first question before we go on adoptions. What is a family coach?
So, Miles, I studied, I did a certification in life coaching. And prior to that, obviously, I've been doing adoptions for quite some time and working with lots of families. So I incorporated my skills from life coaching into helping families flourish regardless of whatever their family dynamic is.
Okay.
So working with children, I do a lot of child assessments, and then obviously from that taking away what we need to put in place for the child as well as the parents, sometimes both, sometimes one, sometimes the other, but just to look at the whole family system and see where I can offer support.
Yeah, so what is the typical family knocks on your door, hey Leigh, we need help. What is that typical help?
So generally a lot of the child assessments that I do is children who, whether it's the parents have identified or maybe the school have identified that they're struggling, whether it's emotionally or academically or whatever, there's some sort of a struggle. And I do a 2-hour, quite intensive baseline assessment with the child and really gain insight into what's going on in the child's world. Because the reality is usually what's going on in the child's world is not the reality of what's going on in the parent's world, right?
Wow.
But to be able to come in as an outside person and assess the child, get to know them, look at school, look at family relationships, look at friends, and then sit down with the parents afterwards and say, this is what's going on in your child's world. This is what we need to do. We need to put into place to really help your child flourish. And generally, when the child starts flourishing, the parents and everything else falls into place as well.
So, I mean, typically 16 years, what is the child, like the makeup of the child now? And what you've experienced in the past, because we've now moved where social media is a big influence in life, parents are busy, more professional, both parents. Like, what is the common change of a kid? Like, what is it influences?
I think It depends on the family, right, Miles?
Okay.
Like, not everyone is, everyone is the same, and
Yeah.
every family is the same. So there is, I mean, our children are, cliche, but COVID has brought in, what social media has brought in, all of that stuff. It's changing the dynamic of a family, and I think what the biggest challenge a lot of parents have, and I don't know if I'm answering your question properly, but a lot of the challenge parents have is that we raise our children the way we were raised, right?
Correct.
Because that's all we know.
Yeah.
And the world that we are trying to do that, it is completely different.
Correct.
And the same happened to our parents and their parents. You're parenting in a different world.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest challenge for parents.
Yeah. Okay, so adoptions. So why are we doing adoptions? So you finish school and you decide I'm going straight into adoptions. And
Do you know? Funny enough, I never really always knew what I wanted to do, and I spent a year overseas, and then I came back, still didn't really know what I wanted to do, and my poor mother said, "You've got to go study something." So I went and I studied social work at Stellenbosch University.
But why? Like, what is that?
Well, I actually did. I did a BA. I started off with a BA, and one evening, late night, after being out at a friend's house and slept over, and her mom had been at book club, and there was a book called what's it called? I Am Dave, and I started reading it that evening, and it was about a boy who had been abused by his mother and then foster parents, and it was a terribly sad story. And the last bit was about him as an adult. And after reading that, I went back to varsity, and I was like, I'm going to, I'm changing from a BA to social work. So that was probably the catalyst.
Okay, cool.
That catalyst for me.
Yeah, so I mean, you're doing it for 16 years now. You're doing adoptions. Take me through the process now. So parents come to you, they knock on your door, and you say, "Hi, Leigh, we want to adopt." Give me the rundown of the process. What are the disqualifying criteria? What works in your favor?
So, Miles, my practice is a little bit different to average adoption social worker. So there's kind of two areas of adoptions, if I could put it that way. One is when couples who can't conceive or who want to extend their family through adoption, where they will adopt a child that is not part of their family. Right. That's the one kind of adoption. And the other kind of adoption is adopting a child who's already in your care. So whether it's a foster child in your care, or whether it's a step-parent adoption, so previously married, or a child from a previous relationship, and now your new partner wants to adopt a child. So there's different kinds of adoptions. My practice, me personally, I am only facilitating adoptions where the child is already in care. So foster care to adoption, or step-parent to adoption.
Yeah. So that means that me and you are married. You have a kid from a previous marriage.
Yes.
I want to be the legal custodian of this kid.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That's what you.
That's what I specialize in. But either way, there are social workers, and there's social workers all around the Western Cape that deal with both kinds of adoption. That's just my practice.
Yeah.
So the process would be, someone contacts me, let's go through the step-parent adoption for an example. I'll talk about the other one as well, in case anyone needs that information. And they come to me, we need to remember that despite adoption being a legal process, it is also a highly emotional process.
Of course,
right? So we are changing, through adoption, we are changing the identity of a child.
Wow.
Okay?
All right.
Because we are terminating parental rights and responsibilities, putting them onto someone else. We are also putting a new parent's details onto a birth certificate, and changing a surname, possibly, if the child wants to. The end result is also a new ID number through Home Affairs.
Wow.
So we are changing the identity of children. So it's not just people contact me and say, I want to adopt my stepchild, do the legal process, right?
Right.
It's a much more emotional process as well. So the start point would be to see the child, assess the child, make sure that the child understands and that this is actually what the child wants. No one can force or coerce someone into giving,
Is there age consent? Like, are they allowed, like, any kid can say, yes?
So legally, a child under the age of 10 does not have to consent to their own adoption.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Under the age of 10, both biological parents have to consent.
Wow.
Biological mom and biological dad both have to consent to the adoption. If a child is over the age of 10, they have to consent as well.
Wow.
And when I talk about consent, it's not just saying, yes, to me, a Tanny in an office,
Yeah.
yeah, Tanny leek wil. You know, that's not, we counsel everyone who needs to sign consent in great detail, and we go off to the magistrate's office, and it's a presiding officer and magistrate who takes that consent.
Wow.
And from signing consent, any birth parent or child has 60 working days to change their minds.
Wow.
So they can go back on day 58 and say, do you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Withdraw their consent, and obviously the adoption is then.
Wow.
The application is then terminated.
Jeez.
So that's kind of a little bit of the legal process. I think I'm trying to answer your previous question in between. But while that 60 days is happening, we are also screening the prospective adoptive parent as a prospective adoptive parent, right?
Okay.
So even if you come to me and say, I want to adopt my wife's child, you still have to be screened as a prospective adoptive parent. It's not just because, well,
I'm in love with her.
I'm in love with her and this is what we want to do. You know,
Jeez.
it's really the responsibility lies on us as social workers to make sure that everyone understands the implication and that everyone is happy. Happy with their decision. I always say to clients, even with the kids I work with, like, one day when I'm an old lady and I'm sitting on the stoep in an old age home or whatever, I would hate for someone to come to me and say, you facilitated an adoption process when I was a child that wasn't right, or that I didn't want, or you made a decision without my consent or whatever. So always thinking like that's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, because I think, like you're saying, it's emotional. There's a lot of feelings involved. So, but I would think, I would also want to understand from a aspect of, okay, that is the one where I'm in love with someone and I want to adopt the child because they're living in a house and I understand them. So what about the parent or the couple that can't have kids? And so what's that, like that process must be much more, how do you say, lengthier than that, the current
So
one?
the process, so legally, according to legislation, the process is the adoption process is exactly the same. However, should you and your wife want to adopt, whether you can conceive or whether you find it in your heart as something you led to do, or you have biological children and you want to extend your family, whatever, you still have to go through quite a rigorous screening process. For me, the screening process is twofold. Yes, it is, we have a responsibility as social workers to make sure we're placing children in safe environments.
Yes.
So that's the one side, that's the screening. It sounds like a terrible word, but the other side of it is also, for me, is an information time. You need to, raising an adopted child, it's not just bringing a child into your home and everything will be fine. There's certain challenges that may arise with any kind of parenting, not just adoption, but to be able to prepare adoptive parents for what the future holds in raising an adopted child. So that's what the screening process is.
Okay, so that's the lengthy process, the screening.
I want to call it screening / preparation. Preparing to bring an adopted child into your home. So that's a process in itself. And then once you've been screened and you've been approved and now you are ready to adopt, all social workers work off a matching process. So it's not, okay, you're screen number 5, you receive baby number 5, right? It's a matching process. So when we're working with a birth mom who's pregnant, who's deciding to release her baby for adoption, she obviously also goes through a counseling process. But then we look at what are her prerequisites. What is it that she wants for her child? What are her interests? What are her hobbies? What is she into? And so that we know that we are putting her baby in the best family possible. And then we do the matching process, and once matched with the baby, then we follow the same legal process as I explained before.
Okay.
So that, because it's not a waiting list, that waiting period of being screened to placement, it's impossible to say that can be the lengthy process because an adoption is also never guaranteed. Maybe there's a baby that
Yeah,
that
doesn't
match.
fit. Yeah, doesn't fit.
And we'll never go, oh, Miles,
Yeah.
here's one because
Yeah,
you've been waiting
second
long.
choice or something.
Yeah, because adoption must never be. It's the same when people come to me and say, Leigh, we can't conceive, so our next best option is adoption.
Yeah.
Then you're not ready.
Then yeah.
It has to be completely
Yeah.
unconditional.
And Leigh, it's expensive. Like, what does it cost? Like,
The costs involved, it varies dramatically. It's difficult to share costs, and let me explain why. Is that I'm a private social worker, for example, so we get private social workers and we get child protection organizations that are accredited to do adoptions, right? Child protection organizations are subsidized by government.
Correct.
Private social workers are not subsidized by government at all.
Yeah.
So I start my car, I pay for my petrol,
Correct.
any kind of my printing and all of that, comes out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
So, and then it depends. So it's like, I suppose, like an attorney.
Yeah. You pay for your time.
You pay for your time.
100%.
So if if an organization or someone's working with a birth mom from 6 weeks pregnant throughout her whole pregnancy, obviously the financial implication is going to be different as opposed to I start the process today. If we have a step-parent adoption where the birth father's in Johannesburg, obviously the cost implication is going to be different. But what the advice I always give to people is that all social workers should have a fee structure that they work by. And the most important thing is transparency.
Yeah.
So the second a client comes to me and says, Leigh, this is our circumstance, I could possibly help, if everything went straight forward, this is what you would look at.
Yeah.
And that's the advice I give to anyone wanting to adopt is inquire with whoever, whether it's a child protection organization or whether it's a private social worker, what are your fees? Send me your fee structure so that you know what
you
you're
can
getting
budget for it. Yeah.
So that you can budget for it and you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Because it's a very difficult thing, where people can be taken advantage of.
No, of course, because sometimes you're in too deep and really you can't pull out. So
And it's such a personal,
emotional
journey that you're on that people will just keep going.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about same-sex marriages as well. Any of your clients?
Yes, totally. So according to South African law, as long as you in a life partnership, married or not married, so you don't even have to be married to adopt jointly, as long as you're in a life partnership. And same-sex couples. I have lots of same-sex couples. Obviously now with my, moving away from not doing regular adoptions and only doing foster care and step-parent adoptions, that's a little bit less same-sex couples that I'm seeing now. But yeah, very much so. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for
100%.
A fantastic option for same-sex couples.
Yeah, and then just 2 last questions. Highlight of the career. So what is the one, probably the adoption that was like really the thing that stands out for you?
Wow.
And then the other one is, what is the most scariest part of where a parent came back afterwards and said, I want my child back?
Let's start with the negative first.
Okay, first that one,
No, I think my hardest moment as an adoption social worker was many years ago when I first started. And it was a birth mom who changed her mind during that 60 days and having to remove a baby.
Okay.
That was done many years ago and guidelines have now changed that we can no longer place a baby with adoptive parents until they are adoptable. So until that 60 days has expired,
then you
cannot. You place it with place of safety, which is amazing, which takes that
emotional damage.
That emotional damage, it takes it for both the family and the social worker, obviously. My highlight, that's a difficult one because every single adoption,
different,
and every single adoption is amazing, right? Whether it's placing a baby in the arms of a mom who never thought she would be a mother, like I get goosebumps, that's incredible. 2 weeks ago, standing in court with a 17-year-old whose stepdad finally adopted her, and the two of them stand there and hug and embrace.
Nice.
And he's been dad for 10 years, but now officially he is, and it's 2 months before she turns 18. So there's so many highlights. There's really so many highlights that I can't think of any.
Yeah. So Leigh, where do people get hold of you? So how do they find out if they are interested?
So I'm very old school and not big on social not big on social media. But my email address, you can always pop it wherever you need to pop it.
So no website? No.
I've got a website. I do have a website.
Nice.
a very old website. It's www.leighrebo.co.za.
Okay.
And my email address, info@leighrebo.co.za.
Okay.
And yeah, social media, not really. I think our line of work, it's
No, I don't think you want to put
safer
photos
to stay
on.
away,
Yeah.
safer to stay away from that. But yeah, I'm always available. I'm in the Paarl area. And as a private social worker, I'm not restricted just to this area.
Yeah.
I work a lot in Cape Town, up to Worcester. So yeah, but if anyone ever needs any assistance, I'm always available. Even if I can't help, I'm happy to chat and find people who can.
Cool, man. Okay, yeah, we'll just include the stuff at the bottom of the interview.
Perfect.
Thanks, madam.
Thanks so much, Miles. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me. I hope you've learned something.
No, I think 15 minutes was a bit too short. I thought
Sorry,
this,
it's me that talks too much.
No, I think this conversation could actually be quite longer because there's a lot of
There's
like
so
small
much.
bits that we missed out on.
There's so much.
But I think we could do something more in detail at a later stage.
Definitely.
Yeah, guys, Miss Leigh Reabow, she's a social worker, so nice conversation on adoption. So yeah, check it out. Thanks, madam.
Thanks, Miles.
Whether you have a big meeting coming up or need a change of scenery to brainstorm new ideas, Workshop 17 offers beautiful workspaces for individuals, teams, and enterprises at affordable rates. Workspaces include phone booths, meeting rooms, boardrooms, and auditoriums, which allow you to work, meet, and collaborate in an optimal environment. With 2 locations in Johannesburg, 3 in Cape Town, and thousands of members, Workshop 17 is proving to not only change the way we do business, but change the way we see it. You can choose between a number of workspace solutions that gives you unlimited internet access, ample parking space, access to facilities, and even optional access to all Workshop 17 locations for the traveling entrepreneur. Visit our website workshop17.co.za for more information and feel free to compare our membership plans so the next meeting or brainstorming session you have will be in the perfect environment to get the best results, all while enjoying the best cappuccino in town. We'll see you soon at Workshop 17.
She's an author, writer, poem, and NPC founder of Sunflower Seeds Project. And on top of it, I'm so glad to say this morning that she's 72 years young. Madge Du Preez, welcome to the studio. It's so lovely to have you here this morning.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's fantastic. I'm so looking forward to this interview because there's so much that we don't know about Madge Du Preez. Such a humble lady, and you do so much in the community. If I think about, you're 72 years old and you're doing jazz. You're working with women. You're writing. You wrote a few books that I didn't even know about. So for the people out there, tell us a little bit about Madge. How did this journey start for you, this writing journey?
Well, first let me tell you who I am.
Yes, you can.
I am a child of God, and I'm not ashamed of the
Yes.
gospel. I call myself Madge the Sunflower, and there's a specific reason for that.
Yes.
I believe God has given me an instruction to spread life and life. And yeah, very little to say about me though, but I may have to tell you that I am a skills development facilitator,
Yes.
a transformational life coach, and a published writer.
Fantastic, awesome. So you wear all these hats, and as I said, you wrote so many books, and we are so amazed about it. When I think about looking at The Light in the Dark was one of the books that really attracted my attention, and it was drawn to that. But let me go through, I want to show you guys all the books, or tell you about all the books that Madge Du Preez has written. So we'll start with which one was the first one? Tell me first.
The anthology, the poetry, this one, Gemeng.
Gemeng,
Because on my birth
okay.
certificate it says I'm mixed.
There we go. So give us just a quick few words about what you can expect in this book.
There's Afrikaans, English, and Kaaps, and I
Yes.
do perform Kaaps as well. So yes, it's really about
Amazing.
understanding tolerance, a little bit about the apartheid era, and just
Interesting.
letting young people know what's happened then.
Fantastic. And then I'll just go through the list as I have it. So we have The Light in the Dark. I'm going to leave that because we're going to talk about that a lot. And You Are What You Think.
Yes, that was a little motivational booklet that I did probably 20 years ago. It had a different look. And so I changed it to the sunflower.
I
But it's
just wanted to mention
yes,
the sunflower.
Yes. So it's all about, you know, just helping others to understand where they are, where they want to move to, and just nuggets, helping them to find their way.
Amazing. And then we have the before we go to the last one, then we have also post-school studies. Yeah, UWC.
I have worked at UWC, University of the Western Cape, for over 30 years, and I've worked in the academic development department. So this professor asked me to write this book with her, so I co-authored it with her. And it's really about helping them with the transition from school to university.
Fantastic. Awesome. So the light in the dark. Tell us, why did you decide to write this book?
Why did I decide to write this book? I always wanted to write my own book. And then I started writing the book. I called it In Search of My Destiny. And I think it was about at page 54 when I lost everything. Wow. I lost everything on the computer, even on my USB, and I had to start again. And so as I was writing, I didn't have a name yet.
Yeah.
And then when I was done, I called it The Light in the Dark, because it's really the light in the dark.
Okay, and literally when you rewrote the story, did the story somehow change from the first one, or was it word for word again?
No, I don't think it was. They were changes because I started thinking differently about what I have to write.
Yeah.
Because I was searching for my destiny, and now I know something in this book is the light in the dark.
Fantastic.
Die lig.
Yeah, that's die lig.
Yeah.
And tell us what, if you look into this book, what was your favorite part of writing this book, and also what was the least favorite and why?
Well, if I look at the most favorite, I would think chapter 14, which speaks about heavenly promotions. I actually focus on the value of writing letters. So I have many letters that my dad has written, my mom, my daughters, and even friends and colleagues. Wow. So I value the fact that if you can write letters, then there's kind of a legacy.
Yeah.
And my dad has got a red book full of letters that I actually took as my heirloom, and it will go from me to the
next
rest.
generation.
Yes, but something that stands out for me about the letters is that a guy, his name is Josh, I met him on a flight to Atlanta, and he was reading his Bible all the time. And I looked at this guy and I said to him, we started chatting, and I was writing in my journal. So he wrote in my journal, and what was amazing, he didn't know who I was or what my focus was or my vision. And he said to me, like prophetic words.
Yes, speaking into your life.
Keep reaching out to the future leaders of South Africa.
Wow.
So that was quite profound.
Yes.
And this is where I am.
Fantastic. Oh, my word. So tell us what I want to ask now.
The least favorite.
Yes.
No, there wasn't a least favorite. Yeah. I think the chapter on, what is the chapter?
Or can I maybe ask, what was the most difficult chapter to share? Let's ask that.
The most difficult chapter to share was to dig deep. Dig down deep. And that was the chapter where I really was searching for answers and looking back at the past, the things that happened, and how it made me feel. And in this particular chapter, I wrote about my son, my eldest son, late son, who died at the age of two and a half.
Sorry to hear that.
He was a very sick child. Yeah. And so that was part of the digging and getting over it, and just making peace with the fact that these are things that happened in my life and I needed to make peace with it.
Yeah.
And yes, writing is healing, like a healing balm.
I can imagine. I also do that. I write a little bit, and I don't go into it too deep yet, but I'm at a point where I'm writing about my emotions, and I can say out of my experience, it does help you a lot.
Absolutely.
To get it out, like bringing it to light and just writing it down, and then
yes,
it makes you lighter.
That's why journaling is so important.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, what changed about yourself during this journey of writing? And what changed and how did it change you?
I believe that I gained a lot of confidence, and I got clarity on my vision and my purpose.
Oh,
If I look at the chapter, The Key to Your Life Purpose, I really started connecting to who I am, and looking at my behavior then, and then also at my actions then and now. So I was kind of, there was moving forward
Yeah.
when I looked at the key to your life purpose.
Yeah.
And I found those answers. When I wrote my book, when I finished it, I read it probably 10 times. And every time I read the book, I was crying. And I said to myself after the seventh one, that it is finished,
Yeah.
like Jesus said on the cross.
Yes,
It
yes.
is finished, no more tears.
Wow.
And now I can easily speak about it because I've dealt with those things.
Yes. And now, tell us a little bit about, now that I love the fact that you say to yourself, it is finished. Now the tears are done. And then you decided, Gem was started.
Yes,
Yes.
Gem actually originated from my
From-
book, The Light in the Dark. So, God prompted me to write, to do this, what do they call it, program
Yes.
called Gem, which is God's Emerging
Emerging
Miracle.
Miracle.
But it started with my poem that I wrote when I went through the most difficult time of my life. It's called Woman Be.
Yeah.
And that poem ends with Be the Miracle.
Yeah.
So I believe that I am what do they call it? An emerging miracle. And I want
Yes.
to take other women with me to become God's emerging miracles. So Gem originated, like I said, from this book. So I took 12 chapters in the book that each of these chapters have a value attached to it. And then the idea is to offer it to women over a period of 12 years. So 12 is a very phenomenal number
Yes,
in
it
the
is,
Bible.
yes.
So we started with that, and I'm very excited about the prospects and
Yes.
where it's heading. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited to hear about, so Sunflower Seed Project is
Okay.
up and running. Yeah.
Yes, we started in 2019, just when COVID kicked in and caused havoc all across the world. So, yes, there was a little bit of, we didn't stop. We were working behind the scenes.
Yes.
I started it with I'm a founder member, and I started with my youngest daughter, and you are aware who this
Yes.
young lady is.
Yes.
So we've got things running. Gem is one of the projects that's really, the core at this point. And we have reached about 22 women already with the program. We started with Prisons of Life, which is really dealing with those toxicity inside of you and those things that we still hold on to. And
Yes.
it's amazing to see how many women are really still struggling with past hurts and how to deal with it.
Okay. Just give us a quick just overview of the different programs that you're covering.
We, like Gem is
Yes.
the core program at the moment. Then we have, first of all, Gem, the SSP, Sunflower Seeds Project.
Yes.
We've got 3 focus areas: women empowerment, youth development, and then entrepreneurship. So what we're offering at the moment is like I said, Gem, and then we have DYB. This is Do Your Best Campus, where we actually work with, help learners from grade 8 to 11 with homework, and we walk a path with them towards spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical wellness, so that when they reach matric and, going through the gap or going into workplace or to university or college, that they are ready to take
Yes.
that gap.
Fantastic. And where is this all happening? I know where it's happening, but tell us, how can people get a hold of, if they want to get involved?
Oh,
how
if
do
they want to
a-
get involved, they can follow us on Instagram. We have a Facebook page. They can also, what do they call this? What do the young people say? DM us.
Yeah.
Yes, and Yeah, and if they want to, they can get involved by becoming a member. They can also give us a donation because we need donations.
definitely.
Funding is really a stifling block
Priority,
at the
yeah.
moment, but yeah, we have our 18A on the way.
Fantastic, awesome. Okay, so to finish it off with, The Light in the Dark, I know these books, you said to me, Judith, I don't sell these books, but you are covering these books in your programs. I know with Jamie you are covering The
Yes.
Light in the Dark. So tell me, and just complete the sentence for me, for the reader or someone that comes to you and is, you are a life coach for them and covering this book, what is the hope for you when you are covering The Light in the Dark? What do you want the reader to discover when it comes to themselves? What do you want to reveal?
I would like them to just get rid of all the toxicity inside of them and get away with all the negativity and those self-imposed restrictions that we put on ourselves. And then, of course, to discover their vision and their purpose.
Fantastic. Please finish the sentence for me. For the reader, I hope The Light in the Dark terminates.
Excuse me?
For the reader, I hope The Light in the Dark will terminate what in their life?
Like I said, negative thinking
Yeah.
and also those self-imposed restrictions
Yes.
and things that are just not good for them.
Okay, and what do you want to birth when all of that is done and they've done the healing? What do you want to birth in their lives with the program?
Joy and happiness, freedom. Freedom. That's what
we
it is.
go.
This is what I have at the moment. I have peace, like in the valley, like
Fantastic.
Paarl.
Awesome. So you just want women, you said to me, you're really focused on women also to discover their happiness and their peace and their joy.
Yes.
And to know that you don't have any age restriction when it comes to finding your purpose and
Absolutely.
doing what you're
Absolutely.
supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah? Fantastic. So, Madge, we're going to finish it off. I would love for you to read one of your poems that you've mentioned. So,
Yes. Thank you, Judith. I would like to read the poem that I call Woman Be. And that's the poem that I wrote when I was going through a very difficult time of my life. It's called, can I do it?
Yes, you may.
Woman, be. See beyond. See the gift, the calling, the vision. Embedded in your spiritual womb. See the beginning, the end, the now. See it, woman. Believe it, act it, live it. Be, woman, be all you were made to be. Mother of the nation, diva, princess, queen.
Here we go.
Look forward, leave the past behind. Run, walk, rest. Just be your very best. Be woman, be the miracle.
Wow. Well, there we have it. Be woman, be the miracle. And the message today is leave the past behind and be your best self. Be the miracle.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Madge. This was so insightful, and thank you for your encouraging message. Thank you guys for joining us, and stay tuned. There's more coming.
Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome to the sports section. If you're joining for the first time, we chat to people in Paarl and Wellington doing sport, a lot of talent and passion in our area, but we also have a lot of legends, and one of those legends is Neal Bredenkamp. He got my attention because he's also coaching some of the youth kids that are doing pretty amazing on the youth level. And I also found out he's got quite a rich history when it comes to athletics, and I wanted to chat more about this history and where it all started for athletics. So those that don't know him, he's a SA master in the athletics champ. So he does the 3 jumps, he does high jump, long jump, and then also triple jump. And I thought, okay, why doesn't he just jump onto the show and chat a bit about his history? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Miles.
How are we?
Jumping into the show, pun intended.
Yes, 100%. Are you doing all right?
Always.
Congrats. I
Always.
see your athletes are doing pretty well in the youth level. I see you Most of them are performing quite well on SA Champs as well.
Yes, but I think we're jumping the gun now, pun intended again.
No, but tell us a bit about the youth. I mean, like, just tell us a bit about the kids that you are training.
Yeah, that's my recent history.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I decided to go into coaching,
Nice.
and I'm not going to divulge too much into it, but I had an interview done by, was it Marinas? She worked at the Paarl Post. Tammy
Okay.
Lee, I think.
All
Tammy
right.
Lee Marinas. And like I said, I'm not going to say why she did the interview. That will come in later. And then she asked me, what about me doing coaching and so on. And then I actually gave it an idea or thought, and then, yeah, it got a hold of me, and I started coaching. And in a nutshell, I had 2 private athletes that I was coaching, because I work full-time as well. And the one is at high school, one is at primary school, and obviously 2 years were lost.
Yeah.
The one I was busy for just over 3 years, the primary school one, and then the high school girl I was busy with just over 2 years.
Okay.
And through this lockdown COVID thing, we managed this year to get both of them into the Western Cape team
Nice, man.
for essays. In fact, my under 17 girl won the under 17 girls high jump Western Cape title,
Nice.
and the other one won the silver.
Okay.
Won the silver, and yeah,
So that
went-
means they SAF, they go to the essays.
they have left already. They've gone. They've done and dusted.
All right.
Um,
How did they perform there?
Average.
Okay, cool.
But like I said, this was like a trial run
No,
for us. I
100%.
mean, just to make the Western Cape team for me
Yeah.
as a part-time coach
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, the one girl with one jump,
Yeah.
she won the.
What's her name? Michaela? What's her name?
No, I'm not going to.
Oh.
This is actually a chapter in my life that I closed.
All right.
So
Okay.
it's difficult for me to talk about it.
Okay.
So yeah, with one jump, she jumped herself into the Boerland, into the Western Cape schools team, the Boerland junior team, and the Boerland senior team.
Jeez.
So yeah, that chapter of my life has closed.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're saying part-time coach. What you doing when you're not coaching?
I should be working now. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, I'm a handyman,
All right.
building maintenance.
Okay, cool.
Fix everything that the builders mess up. So
Right.
if they don't mess up, I don't have work.
Okay.
So, and that's what keeps me fit, because I'm up and down roofs.
Yeah. Okay, so we on heights. So you used to on heights.
I'm used to heights, not
Okay.
afraid of heights.
Tell me something, Neil. So where did athletics all start? Of course, you had your Boland colors. That time it was Western Province. Where did it all start? And yeah, I think
It all started in 1975.
okay.
And that was when I went to a school. We were staying in Paarl. There were no, shall I say, no colored English schools.
Yeah.
And then I went to, or I was enrolled at a school called Livingston High School
Wow.
in
Okay.
Claremont, Cape Town, which meant I had to leave with the working people at the Huguenot station
Okay.
at 5:30 in the morning to go to school. I had to change over at Salt River
Yeah.
to get a train to Claremont,
Okay.
and then walk about 3-4 kilometers to get to school on time at 8 o'clock.
Jeez.
So that's where it started for me. And like coming from Paarl, it was the first time you under 14.
Yeah.
So now you can work at our old hand. I was under 14, and then when you're under 14, you have to do just about everything.
Yeah.
So they can see what you're good at.
Yeah.
And that year, I won all the field events.
Okay.
You know, without practicing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't been exposed to athletics. High jump was a first for me. The first thing they said was, we can see you come from the Boland, because I don't know whether I did. You got the Eastern roll and you got the Western roll at that time.
Okay.
But I didn't know whether I did either of that one, because I refer to my jump as the sausage roll.
Okay.
You know, because nobody knew what it was that I was doing.
Okay.
But I still managed to break the school record.
Okay.
And then a guy in my class, a legend of Sackos high jumping, Patrick Doman, was in my class. And he took me.
Okay.
And he started coaching me the Fosbury flop. And within a few months, you have to go through lots of
Yeah.
meetings. This is now obviously Western Province schools.
Yeah.
And you have to go through lots of meetings to eventually get to the Champs of Champs at the Athlon Stadium. And that was the event.
Yeah.
I went through all of that at the Champ of Champs, went through, broke this Western Province record, and actually got into the Western Province team for Johannesburg that year.
Okay, so we're still in the 70s.
75.
Yeah.
75. Went up to Johannesburg. Now, this is bare feet on grass.
Yeah.
Went to Johannesburg with the Western Province team. Long story short, again, the Western I was just chuffed being there.
Yeah.
At that time, Sackos again. The South African record at that time for under 14 was 165.
Yeah.
I ended up on a 169.
Okay.
And I mean, that was to me,
The highlight, yeah.
that was at that stage a highlight in my career.
So that's the primary school, and then of course
high
you come.
school.
Oh, that's not it's high school.
High
Really.
school, yeah.
So when you finish matric and you got all these accolades and you're winning all the champs, what happens at matric? Do you say, does your mom and dad say go work, or do you say you want to do athletics? Because of course it was different then.
No. When I was 14 years old, I had this dream. This dream was born in Johannesburg. I already at that stage, I thought about representing South Africa at the Olympics and all these things, 14-year-old. I always say, being naive as I was, I never realized that this dream will never come true
Okay.
because of the society we were living in.
Okay.
Okay, so that dream would never come true because, I mean, we were banned from. Let's put it on the table because of apartheid.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So that dream would never realize. Right. Just to take it further, after school, went to Peninsula Technikon in Bellville that time, and then. I must say this because not a lot of people know it. I was 14 years old, a Boland club team, a club athlete, okay? Not to be confused with the Western Province schools.
Yeah, correct.
Western Province schools, Boland athlete,
Correct.
club athlete. When I was 14 years old at that stage, I was already jumping the qualifying height for the senior men Boland at that stage. But I never took up the challenge until I was 17 years old.
Okay.
When I was, when I was 17, I qualified for this time also for the Boland senior men.
Yeah.
I actually went to the championship, and this was at the Dal 1978.
Yeah.
I went there, my name wasn't found under junior men, under 19.
Okay.
It was under senior men.
Jeez.
And then they said, but you're not entered. I said, no, but it's impossible, you know. And then they said, oh, but here's your name at senior men. I said to them, no ways, I'm 17 years old, I'm under 19. They said, okay, then you'll have to put your name in here. And at that time, there were three Western Province guys that I've never jumped against before because we were all in different age groups. I was under 17, they were under 19. And I said to my teammates that the best I can do here is fourth. And anyway, the competition went on. I eventually won the under-19 title. And the strange thing that year, 1978, I won the junior men high jump title. And my coach, Patrick Doman, won the senior men high jump title. And that was, that was an amazing thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have to look back now at your career, I can know your age now because you said you were 40. But I mean, if you look back at your career, I mean, when you're touching about the dream when you were 14 and you couldn't, the dream was never realized because of apartheid. What is the highlight of that career? Because you're a master athlete also, and you're also doing a lot of medals. And then also, what is the saddest part of the career? Because I mean, you were talking about that dream that will never realize, but what is that saddest part of the career?
Well, I stopped when I was 19 because I never jumped senior men. And that's also because I moved out of Cape Town into some rural place called Clarksdorp. And, but that dream, I mean, it didn't disappear. It stayed in the back of my mind. And then, if you go biblical, the Israelites spent 40 years in the desert before they reached Canaan. It took me 41 years to realize my dream. To make a long story short. In 2013, I started coaching a young 10-year-old girl. And, after we would practice, I would just put the ball like, chest height and just take a jump in my sandals and my manga and golf shirt. And I would clear it. And I thought to myself, geez, here's something still, that fire is coming up. 2014, I joined the Boland Masters. And I took part in the Boland Masters Championships. And I cleared a height of 165. And I thought to myself, gee, here's something going on. And that broke the Boland record at that time. And this was, Leo Benning. If I mention that name, everybody in Masters Athletics will know who Leo Benning is. Leo Benning started the Masters movement in 1975. 1975 has been a great year for me, looking back. He started the Masters movement, Masters Athletics movement in 1975. When I was 14 years old, I started my high jump. This man held all the high jump records, and going through the ranks, I broke all his records. And in 2014 I did that. 2015 I started seriously. I registered with SAMA, South African Masters Association, and I started doing more events, provincial, southwestern districts, Free State. I used to travel because I was hungry. And then this all culminated in the South African Masters, my first South African Masters in 2015, where I took the high jump title, high jump, long jump, and triple jump. And this continued for 3 years. So for 3 consecutive years, I won the high jump, long jump, and triple jump. And then...
And this is all Masters?
This is Masters, This was in the 50 to 55 age group. 50 to 54, sorry. 54, 3 days short of my 55th birthday, which is my next age group. At Paarl, I went just for a practice run. And I broke the South African and African record. And that was when I was labeled a freak of nature.
Oh, wow.
Because I was told that, don't I understand how the Masters work? I said, no, how does it work? They said, you come into the age group, you're at your strongest.
Oh, when you leave it.
And then you break records, not when you leave the age group. because you're supposed to be at your weakest, you're supposed to be going
Yeah.
down. But I was going up all the time.
Okay.
And, you know, I got that. And then 3 weeks later, I broke the South African Africa record again for the 55
Oh,
to
in the
50
new
to
age
59.
group, yeah.
In the new age group. This
Yeah.
was 3 weeks,
Yeah.
obviously 3 weeks
So,
later.
so is that when you get South African colors?
Nope. My South African colors came in in 2016.
Okay.
This was my big year. I think you asked
Yeah,
me.
the highlight.
This was basically the highlight of my career. In 2016, I was basically at my peak,
Yeah.
and I entered this. This is a very Christian belief that I have. I strongly believe, and I entered the World Masters Championships in Perth, Australia,
Yeah.
by faith.
Okay.
I said, and not knowing how I'm going to get there, not knowing where I'm going to stay. But again, a long story short, I got sponsors. I went. And this was, I must remember, this was 41 years ago. As a 17-year-old, I had this dream.
Oh, wow.
Right? I had this dream of representing South Africa overseas at the Olympics that time, but
Jeez.
I got this opportunity.
Yeah.
And maybe I can, I don't know how long we have.
I think our time is already finished nearly.
Time is really finished. Okay. This is, then I'm going to have to show you this.
Okay.
My dream was to represent South Africa at the Olympics that time.
Yeah.
But I got the opportunity 41 years later
Yeah.
to go to Perth, take part in the World Masters
Yeah.
Athletics Championships. And this is what I came back with.
So what is this, a gold?
That's a gold medal.
Perth. Wow.
I came back with a South Africa, with a world under 55-year-old men high jump title.
So what's the moral of the story? Don't give up on your
The
dreams.
moral of your story is, you know, it reminds me of, and I didn't print that poster, it reminds me of a frog being eaten by the pelican. Maybe you've seen it.
Yes, I've seen that picture.
And the frog is choking the pelican
Yeah.
from inside his mouth.
Yeah.
And it says, never give up, you know. So, you know, there's a lot I can talk about.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
ask me, people say I'm a freak of nature.
Yeah.
I say no, because I believe strongly, and I tell my athletes as well, if your mind and your body is in sync, and
Yeah.
that's not the band, or they are in sync, and then, you know, you can do everything.
Yeah.
Because I believe Philippians 4 verse 13, which says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's the way I work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to demonstrate something. I would like to demonstrate something after, I think
Yeah.
maybe afterwards.
Yeah, we're just going to wrap it up and then
Yeah.
you can demonstrate it.
You know, this is Leo Benning. This is Leo Benning. This is the book that he wrote.
Okay.
And this guy begged me
Yeah.
to write my story.
Oh,
Or
nice.
sent him something,
Okay,
because he was busy compiling a book of all these.
Over 35s, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of athletes. I don't even know how.
Okay,
I
so you feature in the book.
I wrote him a script,
Okay, nice.
and he answered me, and he said to me, Neal, this is too long,
Okay.
but it depends on my producer.
Yeah.
And he answered me back. He said to me, Neal, my producer says there's nothing we can leave out because there'll be too much gaps.
Yeah,
We won't
between.
follow the story.
Okay.
Now, in this book, we have Zola Budd,
All the legends.
all the legends, Bruce
Yeah.
Fordyce and all that. And I'm one of the few people in here that have 3 pages dedicated to me.
Nice, man.
Right? That
Yeah.
there you can see,
Okay.
that's the name of the book. And this is the picture.
Oh, I
This
see.
is the photo, and that is the jump.
Okay.
That is the jump that I won. I know that because you can see the expression on my face. I had to win that.
Yes, I
that
think,
jump.
yeah, I think Neal, yeah, maybe we'll just include it at the bottom. People can read it. But I think also, I mean, well done on the career. I think it is a bit short to chat to your career because it is illustrious over the past 40 years. But also, yeah, congratulations on the kids that are doing fairly well in athletics. But I think we must have another chat at a later stage with a more length and detail because I think there's a longer story. So what we'll do is we'll do your example that you're going to show us how fit you are. Not now. We're still going to say bye. And then we're going to look at your medals. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, guys, so that is Neal, legend. What you call it, Masters SA legend for quite some time. So we're just going to include some of the, he's going to show us something significant at the age of 55.
61.
At the age of 61, why he's a freak of nature. So thanks so much for your time.
It's a pleasure being here.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining the show. Really interesting conversation. And firstly, just want to say thank you to our guests. Who did you have?
Yes, so I had Madge Du Preez, and we talked about her NPC, her being an author, poet, and 72 years old and still doing a thing, man.
Yeah, I mean, similarly here, we had 61-year-old Neal Bredenkamp also still doing his thing, athletics, thanks to him as well. And then also just an insightful conversation with Leigh. She's the social worker that does adoptions for families. That is very, very interesting. But thanks so much for joining. Engage with us. Send us questions.
Do. Yeah, we want you to interact with us on social media. Please comment. Please tell us what you'd like to see more on the show. You're part of this, part of the family, TVG family.
100, and so if you have any interesting guests you want us to chat to, or you have interesting stories that you want us to maybe mention, you can contact us on all the different platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and.
All of that.
So from us, enjoy the rest of the week and enjoy the weekend. No more long weekends, so we're happy.
Yes, fantastic. And don't forget to tune in next Wednesday at 8 a.m. Yeah, have a lovely weekend, guys. Yeah.
Cool. Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, man. So, what have we? What is happening this morning? No.